Hello everyone, and my name is Katia Dean, the voice of the Cyber Pros. Are you someone that's interested in cybersecurity? Maybe you think cybersecurity is all about hacking. However, it is more to cybersecurity than hacking. Maybe you earned some certifications and you're struggling to find employment, or you have gained certifications but you don't know what type of roles that you have for those certifications. Well, in these series of videos, I'm going to discuss the NIST 800-181 document, and I'm also going to walk you through how to use this document for your career. Stay tuned. Now that you all got to know me a little bit better, let's talk about the term cybersecurity. Normally, cybersecurity is portrayed in the media as someone wearing a black hoodie all the time and trying to crack into networks. And of course, it's portrayed as you will be coding all day, so you need to know about different programming languages as well. And I also noticed that sometimes cybersecurity can also be associated with help desk. However, I like this quote from Dr. Mansour Hafsid, and he mentions that cybersecurity is the mission-focused and risk-optimized governance of information which maximizes confidentiality, integrity, and availability using a balanced mix of people, policy, and technology while improving over time. In easier terms, basically cybersecurity from this point of view is people, technology, and processes. I feel as though if people associate this term with cybersecurity, then a lot of people will actually realize that they do have the skills and knowledge to pursue a career in cybersecurity. They just need to understand that they come from a different area. Now that we covered what cybersecurity means, next we're going to cover what the NIST 800-181 document is all about and why I highly recommend this document for your cybersecurity path. In the last video, we discussed what the term cybersecurity was all about. In this video, we're going to discuss the NIST 800-181 document, just give you a brief overview of what it's about and why I like this document so much. So this particular document was developed by NIST, and the publication is utilized by government, academia, and industry partners to improve the cybersecurity workforce. One of the things that I actually liked that they noted within this document is that an integrated cybersecurity workforce includes technical and non-technical roles that are staffed with knowledgeable and experienced people. During my job search, I noticed that a lot of companies, hiring managers, and recruiters are actually not aware of this document. When I researched this document and actually found out the particular area I was in cybersecurity, which is the overseeing governance side within cybersecurity. Normally, when I would tell a recruiter or hiring manager that I'm on the oversight and governance side of cybersecurity, they would basically give me a blank stare about what I was talking about, and I would ask them were they familiar with the NIST 800-181 document, and most of the time I would get a no, which this also stems from this so-called skills gap or talent gap within cybersecurity. And right now, the number currently, as of 2019, is up to 4 million unfilled positions. I feel as though if companies actually use this document, or if they are aware of this document, that they actually need to utilize this document, because it will actually help with all the unfilled positions that they have vacant, and they will actually be able to find a cyber talent that they so-called says that's not out there. So in this video series, I'm going to actually walk you all through this document, and I'm going to give you an educational example from a different background that you probably have experience in, to let you know that you do have the skills and knowledge to get into cybersecurity, that you're just not aware of what particular area that you do have within cybersecurity. So hopefully this video will help you all out with your cybersecurity path. In the last video, we broke down what the NIST 800-181 document is and why I really like that document. So now I'm going to give you all a walkthrough of this document and give you examples on how some of your previous skills and knowledge that you already obtained can help you with determining what type of area you are in within cybersecurity. First, we're going to cover the analyze section, and I'm going to give you an example from one of the clients that I helped a few months ago. So one of my clients, she had a background in being a translator and having experience in knowing about different languages and very wide, diverse, and different cultures. So she actually fell up under the language analysis side within cybersecurity. So within this particular area, a language analysis, you're basically going to apply whatever languages you probably know and whatever expertise you have in different cultures, and you will actually be able to get a role which is a multi-discipline language analyst. In that role, you're basically, as I mentioned before, going to use your expertise, and you're going to know how to target threat and technical knowledge to process, analyze, and or disseminate intelligence information derived from language, voice, and or graphic material. And throughout this whole document, all of these areas show you what type of knowledge, skills, and abilities you would need for each of these roles. And I'm also going to share this resource within the video as well, so you can have it for your reference. So as I mentioned before, if you are culturally well-rounded, you know various languages, you will actually fill up under the analyze area of cybersecurity and the language analysis side, and a role is the multidiscipline language analyst. The next part we're going to discuss is the collect and operate side. For this particular area, I only probably know one or two people that really fit in this particular area. So for this particular area, if you have, an example could be if you were probably in the military and you dealt with some of the intelligence side of the government, then you will actually fit within this area. So the one area that'll be a good example is cyber operations. So for cyber operations, in this particular area, you're basically going to perform activities to gather evidence on criminal or foreign intelligence, and the role you could have is a cyber operator. And in that role, you're basically going to collect, process, and or geolocation of systems to exploit, locate, and or track targets of interest. So as I mentioned before, if you have an intel background, you're trying to figure out where you fit into cybersecurity, you will fit in the collect and operate side of cybersecurity, and a role you could have is a cyber operator. The next area we're going to go through is the investigate side, and for the investigate side, this particular area is good if you have an educational background in either law, criminal justice, or law enforcement. This is the particular area you will fit under, and this area only has two sections, which is cyber investigation and digital forensics. And I would also like to add, for the digital forensics side, if you possibly majored in forensic science, you will actually fall up under this area as well. So for the cyber investigation, a role you could have is a cyber crime investigator, and in that role, you basically can expect to identify, identify, collect, examine, and preserve evidence using controlled and documented analytical and investigative techniques. So as I mentioned before, if you as a law student major in law, you already know how to collect evidence for a case, you know how to conduct a report dealing with that evidence. So that's how you will relate your past experience to cybersecurity, and that's basically your transferable skills that you already have, and now you can relate that to cybersecurity. For the digital forensics area, as I mentioned before, if you majored in forensic science, law enforcement, this is the particular area for you because you have already obtained those skills for your last major, and this is how you will be able to relate, which you already know, to the law enforcement, counterintelligence, forensic analyst role. So in this role, you're going to conduct detailed investigations on computer-based crimes, establish documentary or physical evidence to include digital media and logs associated with cyber intrusion incidents. So as I mentioned before, maybe in some of your forensic science classes, you had to gather evidence for, as they mentioned here, a computer-based crime. You know how to analyze those, the findings that you found, know how to document everything, do the reports. So this is the particular area you could fit into if you majored in some of those majors that I mentioned before, or if you just have an interest about investigating things, then this could be the particular area for you and the roles that would be within this area. The next area is the operate and maintain. This particular side is for all of my help desk people that's in tech support roles. Maybe if you was in retail, you worked at Best Buy, you was on a Geek Squad, then you actually fit in this role as well. So for the people that always feel as though I'm in help desk and I'm not in cybersecurity, you actually are, and you fit under the operate and maintain side of cybersecurity. So one role and area we're going to discuss is the customer service and technical support side of cybersecurity. So a role you could have within this area is a technical support specialist. Now, I also want to add, when you are looking for positions, yes, maybe your job probably has your job title as a help desk, which that is all fine and dandy. However, there are other job titles out there that has the same duties and roles that you probably do within your help desk that you would be able to do as well. So for instance, the technical support specialist is another job title you could go by, or it probably could be an IT support specialist, or possibly an IT support analyst or manager. It just depends on what type of level you are at your job, and like I said before, whatever duties. So don't limit yourself just because the job title at your company says help desk. You possibly know some other things, and you could be known as a technical support specialist as well. And another area we could focus on in the operate and maintain side, something that I think is unique, is the knowledge management area. In this particular area and role, you're going to manage and administer processes and tools that enable the organization to identify, document, and access intellectual information content. And the role you can have for this is a knowledge manager. So if you know anything about tools and how to identify and document that, maybe in your previous work experience, then you could be a knowledge manager. The next section is the oversee and governance side, which is basically my area of expertise. So all of my job experience basically deals with the oversee and governance side. I have been a system test engineer, cybersecurity engineer, senior technical manager, system engineer, and a program analyst. So all my work experience deals with this. My undergrad degree is in engineering. So if you're an engineer, shout out to you. You could fit in this area. If you had some leadership roles, you would fit in this area. If you were probably a teacher at your point in time, you will also fit under this area as well. Educational background, teacher, substitute teacher, something on those realms, you will actually fit under this area under the oversee and governance side. So two areas we're going to focus on is the program and project management side, which is my area of expertise. This is where I fall up under in cybersecurity. And one role you could have is a program manager. That all depends on, like I said, your level of expertise. You could also be another job title as a program analyst, or either a business analyst, deals with this particular area as well, that you would be able to use your skills and knowledge from your previous work experience. So a program manager basically lead, coordinates, and communicates the program and make sure it's aligned with the mission of the program or company for that particular project that they're working on. So that's how you use your areas of expertise, like I said, whatever you majored in, and this is how you fit within cybersecurity. As I mentioned before, maybe you came from an educational background, you're a teacher, substitute teacher, or you just like to develop content, then you could fit up under the training, education, awareness area, and one role for you is a cyber curriculum developer. So for instance, maybe you have created some courses for Udemy, maybe YouTube, Cybrary, things of that nature. So you already understand how to develop the content, know what the people need. So you will actually fit up under a cyber instructor, developer, and this is how you use your skills and knowledge to get into cybersecurity under the oversee and governance side. The next area we're going to focus on is the protect and defend side. For this particular side, this is for all my people who always say, hey KT, I want to analyze threats, mitigate threats, work in a SOC environment, or deal with incident response. then you will actually fit up under this area within cybersecurity. So one area we're going to focus on is the incident response. So I actually have a good story for incident response scenario using a different concept and how you could relate this to cybersecurity. So I had one client where he was a technical support specialist, but he worked in the assurance claims area within this company. So for him to actually get into cybersecurity, I mentioned to him that, hey, you actually fit up under the protect and defend side of cybersecurity, and your main focus is on incident response. And I came to that conclusion because a customer called in about an accident. That is basically a incident response. So you have to know how to respond to those certain situations. You have to know how to mitigate those risks. So for you to mitigate those risks, okay, you have to collect the evidence from the case. You have to know what type of processes within that company, the assurance claim processes, the business processes, and then you have to know how to respond to those incidents within a network environment. So for instance, of course, you're going to use your database. What type of processes do you have to go through within the database to go through those whole claims? So that's how you could relate your experience. As I mentioned before, maybe working the insurance claim area in a company, and hey, I'm trying to figure out how to get into cyber. Well, you fit up under the incident response area, and that's how you could relate that. Another area we could focus on is vulnerability assessment and management. These are from my people who normally say, hey, I want to do vulnerability testing, threats, the whole 9 yards. So you will fit up under the protect and defend side, and the role you could have is a vulnerability assessment analyst. And basically here you're going to perform assessments on the systems and the networks. So you need to know how to use some scanning tools here and there, know how to read those tools need to know how to read those scans from the tools that you develop and develop reports and mitigate those risks. So as I mentioned before, if you're interested in that, then you would be a vulnerability assessment analyst. And the last section is the security provision part. This is for my people out there who like to code all the time, and maybe you develop some websites here and there, so you really about coding. And another thing is, maybe you did some marketing and you like marketing, digital marketing. You can actually fall up under this area as well, which I'm going to tell you how. So one example is software development. So software development, like I said before, for all my coders out there that know how to read the code, play with the code, whole 9 yards, you will fall up under the security provision area with the cybersecurity, and the area is software development. And then a role for you as an example will be a software developer. So as I mentioned before, develop, creates, maintain, writes code for computer application software or specialized utility programs. So like I said before, you could be building a website, you could be doing coding for a project, a software launch. You also have to be aware of the software development lifecycle process. So from start to finish, how do you finish that particular project within a software development side? So that's how you can relate your coding skills and marketing research to cybersecurity. And another area that is very important in this area is testing evaluation. So I had a few people who know about testing, and they will actually fit up under this area as well. So if you do a lot of user acceptance testing, you will fall up under this area. And one role you could have is a system testing and evaluation specialist. And in this role, you will plan, prepare, and execute tests. So I actually sometimes could fall up in this area from my past experience when I was a system test engineer, so I did a lot of testing. Of course, mine was dealing with the aircraft. However, I did a lot of testing, so system checkout procedures, going through the testing, going through the procedure step by step, evaluating it. If it had to make any changes, I would do some configuration management to the system of the aircraft. So if you have any testing experience, know about testing tools, then you will fall up under the security provision and test and evaluation side within cybersecurity. Now that we went through that document, the next video is going to discuss the types of CompTIA certifications that you can have based off this document and some of the areas that we covered, so you will know how to relate all the skills and knowledge that you already have, and if you have certs or thinking about certifications, to make sure that whatever area you are in, that you align your search properly so that you won't get cert happy. In the last video, we broke down the 7 areas within a document, and I also gave you roles within the 7 areas. So now we're going to discuss what type of certifications you could have within those areas and whatever role you decide to go within your cybersecurity path. What I want you guys to realize is that yes, it's great to have certifications. Certifications are another way for you to obtain your first position within cybersecurity or either grow within your cybersecurity career. However, what I have noticed from various people that's looking for employment is that people will have certifications, but they're still having a hard time finding positions. I would recommend that when you get certifications, make sure that you are able to articulate the basic knowledge within that certification, because if you cannot articulate what you learn in the interview, that certification is basically just going to look nice on your resume and you're still going to have a hard time finding employment. So now that we got that out the way, let's discuss the type of CompTIA certifications that you could have within the various areas within this document. First, we're going to start off with the investigate side of cybersecurity. As I mentioned before, if you come from a law enforcement background, maybe you study law or either criminal justice, the type of role you could have is a digital forensic analyst and also a cyber investigator analyst or possibly law enforcement analyst. So as you can see from the document, if you just want to be a cyber investigator, then you will only need to obtain one certification, which is the pen test certification. Now, I also want you guys to know that, of course, you know, when you go look at positions, we all know that they're really not ideal or like that. So, for you, you would just have to basically let the recruiters know and the hiring managers know your knowledge and your skills and just articulate what you have learned if you have obtained that particular certification for the cyber investigator analyst role. Next, we're going to discuss the oversee and governance area. For instance, we went over a program manager or a project manager role. For this particular role, according to the document, you would just need Cloud Plus and CAPS. Now, I also know that there is a PMP certification that you could get as well, which is another good cert to get if you want to go that route. However, we're just going to focus on the CompTIA certifications at this point in time. Now we're going to move on to the protect and defend area of this document, and we're just going to focus on the incident response area in that particular role. So for this particular role, you would need 5 certifications, and you would need Network Plus, Security Plus, Pen Test, CYSA Plus, and CAPS. So for instance, some people I know already have, I'll call them the entry level certs, which is normally the Security Plus, Network Plus, and sometimes A Plus. So it's one of those things, if you already know, or if you already have those certifications, then this document here will actually help you out with other roles with those certifications that you already obtained, and you don't have to go into the typical help desk route, which is nothing wrong with help desk, but I just want you guys to realize that there are other areas than help desk. Now we're going to move on to the operate and maintain area. As I mentioned before, all my help desk people, technical support people, all of you guys will basically fall up under this particular area. And for instance, if you are doing the customer service and technical support role, you will need, of course, a couple of these CompTIA certifications. So you will need A Plus, Network Plus, Security Plus, Server Plus, Cloud Plus, Pen Test, and CYSA Plus. For security provision, we had mentioned the software development side, and you could be a software developer as a role. So according to this document, you will only need to have one cert, which is the Pen Test cert. And for the analyze part, we discussed the multiple discipline role. However, for this particular example, per se, if you wanted to do the all source analyst area, then you would just need to have a Cloud Plus cert. And for the collect and operate side, we discussed the cyber operation planning. So for this particular area in the role, you will actually need Project Plus, Pen Test, CYSA Plus, and CAPS. In the next video, we're going to discuss the GIAC and the SAN certifications that you will need for each of the roles and areas. In the last video, we discussed the CompTIA certifications and how that aligns to the NIST 800-181 document. Now we're going to go over the SANS and GIC certifications in association with that document. The first area we're going to go over is the security provision part, and we went over the software development side, and the role was software developer. And the certification that you need for that is a certified web application defender. As you all can see looking at this document, they also tell you what type of training courses you need as well for this particular role, and then the associated certification for that role. So this is very good because at least you can know the training courses you need for that role, and then make sure that the certification is aligned with your overall career path that you want to do. The next area we discussed was the test and evaluation side, and the role was a system test evaluation specialist. And for that role, the certifications you need is a security essentials and Python coder. The next area we're going to go over is the operate and maintain side. As you remember from the last video, this is for my tech support people, help desk. As I mentioned before, we worked at Best Buy in the Geek Squad section. Then you will fall up under this area. We went over the customer service and technical support side, and that role was the technical support specialist. And the type of certification you need for that is the Security Essential certification for this particular role. The other area that we discussed is the knowledge management, and the role was knowledge manager. And the type of certifications you need for that is the Information Security Fundamentals certification. The next area is the overseeing and governance side. As I mentioned before, that's my area of expertise. And we went over the program project management side and the training, education, and awareness area. So for the program and project management, as you can see, it's a lot of other roles under there, but we're just going to go over the program manager role. And for that particular role, the certification you need is security leadership and strategic planning and policy and leadership. For the training and education, we discussed the cyber curriculum developer. And for that particular role, you're going to need the Security Essentials certification. For the protect and defend side, as I said before, if you're interested in threats, mitigating risk, scanning for threats, all of that, you will fit up under the protect and defend side. And we discussed the incident response and vulnerability assessment and management. For the incident response role, the certification you're going to need is the incident handler, network forensic analyst, and certified forensic analyst. For the vulnerability assessment and analyst, for that particular role, you are going to need penetration tester, web application penetration tester, and the exploit researcher and advanced penetration tester certifications for that particular role. For the analyze part, we only discussed one area, which is the language analysis, and that role is a language analyst. As you can see, for this particular role, this one is actually interesting because they don't really give us a particular course or an outline of certifications. However, they do reference some mapping search that could help for this particular role. So this is a great example on make sure that if you go for a particular role, if you need certifications, make sure they have one. And if they don't particularly have a certification, that's okay as well, as long as you know your knowledge and how to talk to that role that you're applying for, then you'll be fine as well. You just need to know your area of expertise and know your knowledge during interviews. The next section we discussed collect and operate, and that particular part and role was the cyber operator. For the cyber operator, you're going to need two certifications. One is penetration tester and the other one is web application penetration tester. And the last area is the investigate side, which is cyber investigation and digital forensics. For that particular role and then certifications, you're going to need forensic analyst, examiner, and smartphone forensics. for the digital forensics, and we discussed the law enforcement analyst role and the certifications you're going to need for that. Is everything that I mentioned before, except for they just added the certified forensic examiner certification to this particular role. So as you can see, this is another great resource to have and reference when you're trying to determine what certifications you want to get using this document. So as you all know, there are a lot of other vendors out there that have certifications. So we discussed CompTIA, SANS GIC. You also have IC Square, and you also have NCounsel, which is the certifications. If you want to do the certified ethical hacker certification, that's where that vendor is. And they also have an example of the same concept using the NIST 800-181 document. So I highly recommend Googling that as well if you already have the CE8 certifications, and make sure that you just align your path and interest to that document using that certification that you already have, so you can make sure that you are aligned. So we went over the walkthrough of CompTIA, the SANS certifications, and we also went over the whole NIST 800-181 document. This document is very important, as I mentioned before, because this document really helped me determine my own area within cybersecurity. And once I conducted research on my area and my knowledge and background, I was able to articulate my area of cybersecurity on interviews, and that actually helped me out a little bit more. Now I will say this for a rule of thumb: there are still companies that's not aware of this document, and sometimes when I would mention this document, they will actually look at me with a blank stare. So even though this is a well-known document, a lot of people still don't know about it. So just for your reference, as I said before, I like this document. It helped me out a lot, determine my path, how to articulate everything. So I highly suggest doing more research on your own. If you have other skills that I probably didn't cover, then your skills and knowledge is probably within that document in the other areas and other roles. So don't just limit yourself to certain roles. So for instance, all the time I only hear, oh, I want to be a cybersecurity analyst or a SOC analyst or a pen tester. That's great, but as you could tell from the document, there are millions and millions of other roles and job titles that you could look up that you're probably missing. So in the next video, we're going to discuss mentor and mentee and why that's important, and what type of characteristics you should look for in your mentor, and the characteristics that a mentor would look for in a mentee. And stay tuned. And finding your cybersecurity career, you probably want to get a mentor in some shape or form within your career, and you yourself, you would be the mentee. So what everyone needs to understand is that a mentor is someone that actually has the same interests as you, or maybe the same skills that you're interested in within cybersecurity. So when someone come to me and they ask, Katia, can you be my mentor? I make sure that I understand the type of area they're in first, which is my area of expertise is oversee and governance within cybersecurity, and most of my work experience deals with being a program manager, system engineer, business analyst, or a technical writer. So if you are interested in any of those fields of study, then I will be able to be your mentor in that particular area. But if it's a different topic, such as hacking, ethical hacking, digital forensics, software development, then I cannot be your mentor because I have limited experience within that particular area. So I would have to make suggestions to you or give you resources to help you find a mentor in that particular field of study. And when I'm trying to mentor somebody, some things that I look for in a mentee as some tips. First, I want to make sure that you all are actually interested in cybersecurity. What made you get interested in it? Are you open to doing projects? Do you want to learn all the time? Are you willing to take risks? And do you have a confident attitude? So most of the time, some people, they might say they're interested in cybersecurity, but they don't have a valid reason. Some people, it could be because they want to make money, per se. Or because, hey, it's a hot topic, it's a buzzword, but they really don't have any interest in cyber. They just want to do it because it's hot right now. Which, that is not a way to succeed in cybersecurity, so I would not recommend that. And for you as a mentee, what your mentor should provide, they should help you grow your network, help bridge the gap between current experience and transition in cybersecurity, and assist in your career growth. So when I help out a lot of my mentees, most of the time I give them suggestions. For instance, when I was a mentor for Anita B. Org organization based out of Chicago, I had about 5 mentees, and most of them range from all different age groups and different areas within their career. So I made sure that I gave them valid tips, gave them encouragement throughout the session. We went over resumes. I went over their interests, what they was interested in. I had one mentee that was actually interested in data science or data analytics, and since I didn't have a lot of experience in that particular area, I did give her advice, and I actually conducted some research on that particular area and gave her steps along the way so she'd be able to know, okay, I'm interested in this particular part of cybersecurity. This is how I use, she actually had a math background, so this is how I use my mathematics degree and how I get into cybersecurity. Another way to assist is in career growth. So I always tell people you have to be willing to take risk. If you don't want to take risk, then you're pretty much going to be stagnant. So it's a lot of people I help with resumes, and I actually see a lot of people that's been in the help desk area per se. I actually get a lot of these, and they really want to grow in their career, so they want to get out of help desk and go into another part of cybersecurity. So I tell them that they have to be willing to take risks and get out of that comfort zone. So start applying to other jobs that's not help desk related, or pick up new skills for the new area that you want to study in. And I get them recommendations to go on maybe Cybrary, Udemy, LinkedIn has some great courses here and there to make sure that you are prepared for your career. So throughout your career, college, even high school, even if you're out of college, just try to get a mentor, one that really help you throughout your career, because that would be very important. And you don't have to have one. You could probably have 1, 2, or 3. It depends. Just depends on what type of expertise you need for your career. In the next video, we're going to discuss networking and why it's important for your career.
Mansour Hasib, and it is my pleasure and honor to present to you the Cybersecurity Divas. All highly distinguished Master of Science graduates from the award-winning cybersecurity programs at the University of Maryland Global Campus. So please join me in welcoming Katoria Henry, Elena Heaton, who won the 2019 Rising Star Award from Cyberjutsu, and last week won the 2019 America's Information Security Leadership Award as an up-and-coming professional from ISC Square. And now, let's begin with some opening remarks from each panel member. First, Katoria Henry.
Good morning, good morning. So I like to stand up. I'm going to try not to go over my time. So briefly, guys, I just want to let everybody know how I got into cybersecurity. How many people in here wants to be a millionaire? Just raise your hand. I don't know. Okay, just for everybody. So this is how I got started, and this is a very true story. So right after I graduated from college in 2010 with my undergraduate degree, I was really in between jobs, and I really needed money really fast. So I actually received this email, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to this. They said that I was the beneficiary of $50 million, and I actually really truly believed that it was a true email, and so they requested a lot of my information, and you know, I actually gave it to them. Seriously. So they had all of my PII, everything, but I wasn't actually financially impacted until maybe 3 years after I actually gave out my information, and it took me about 6.5 years to really get on top of things and get my credit, everything back on track, because I essentially opened up the doors to my own identity, and I gave it away. So one of the biggest things, you know, that I want you guys to take away from here is like really pay attention to the phishing emails. They really are true. If someone emails you and they say, hey, you know, you're gonna get 50 million or $200 million, please don't believe it. They're getting really, really creative with these emails now, and it's really difficult to tell if it's actually true or if it's, you know, like a fake email or something like that, because the email addresses are actually, you know, official looking too, and the attachments as well. Please don't open those emails. Don't be like me, so you can give yourself up. But I did it, but you know, I've been working around to get myself back on track, and so that's really why I got into cybersecurity. I gave myself up, and now I have to take myself back.
All right. Great.
No. Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Katia Dean. I'm the voice of the Cyber Pros because I like to speak up for everyone in cybersecurity. I'm a pet mom to Buster. I also enjoy inspiring the next generation cyber professionals with my resume services and encouraging them through my discovery session calls. And I also have a pet business called Peaceful Paw Natural Care. So if you need a pet sitter, I'm a girl. And that's it.
Great. Now up to Ray.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone, my name is Nal Patutoye. I graduated last year in May, and I was inducted in the Honor Society and epsilon pi epsilon. Why I studied cybersecurity is because I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa, where 90% of the population lacks cyber awareness. 90%. And I love to attend conferences and network events where I can gain more knowledge and meet and network with people. Last month, I attended the Hackers Baltic, and I realized that even we have to safeguard all data, but we must realize that not all data is golden. Not all data is golden. We all know how gold is important, so not all data is important. Thank you.
Great. Now, Elena Healing.
Hi everyone, I'm Elena Healing, and my story is a tad bit different. I started out here at this university in 2009, and I ended up getting my bachelor's in math and also economics. I got 2 degrees. So I went into work for the private industry for 10 years, and as an actuary, an auditor, and then statistical reporting analyst. And during that, 2016, realized, maybe I want to do something else because this world is growing and there are hacks I keep hearing about. So I did end up going and starting the Cybersecurity Masters. And what I learned from that more than anything is leadership. Thanks to Dr. Hasib, who was my first professor and has continued to be my mentor. I learned all about leadership and also about federal government and what, now I actually do work for the federal government, and I'm a mathematical statistician, but everything I've learned in the cyber program through policy management sticks with me every single day.
Wonderful. Now, Ani Biambi.
Hi everyone, my name is Ani Biambi. How I got started in the field. So when I was 10 years old, I got my first computer, and ever since then I've been in love with computers, technology. So I started out as I wanted to be an architectural engineer, but I took an architect class. I didn't like it, so I dropped to like regular engineer. Then I moved I switched schools, and then I studied. I think I did information technology or business, and then I transferred schools again to UMUC, and then I got into the cybersecurity program. So and I also used to watch NCIS. And you know the girl that was like behind the computer was helping solving the crime. So I always liked her. So this is like one of the other reasons why I got into cyber as well. And that's all.
Wonderful. So you see, cybersecurity is for everyone. These people are coming from diverse backgrounds and they've made the journey here. So now we're going to learn what the journeys were like so that each of you can benefit from that. So let's start with Katoria. You transitioned into some new cybersecurity roles recently. Could you share some of your job interviewing techniques that helped you become successful?
Absolutely. So, one of the biggest things, because I actually do a lot of interviewing as well in the position that I'm in, one of the biggest things is to really go into the interview feeling fearless. Okay, you can't feel overwhelmed or anything like that. I know it's difficult, especially for those that are just starting off and maybe your first interview. One of the best things that I would recommend for sure, especially if it's a big name company, when you go in there, usually the hiring manager or the recruiter, one of the main questions that they want the candidates to genuinely answer is, why do you want to join my company? When they say that to you, what they're looking for is someone that has done their research, what their values are, what their mission may be, things of that nature. They really want to see if you've taken the time to really get to know that organization and if you could really be a valuable asset. If you can't sincerely answer that question and provide that information, more than likely you're probably not going to get a call back or an email or anything like that. They really want to see if you've done the research, to see if you could be a key player for their team. So that's one of the best things that I can, really just kind of get people to look into when you're looking for these jobs. Research the company, find out what they're good at, find out what their weaknesses are, and for sure you can answer that in an interview. More than likely they will select you.
Very nice. Thank you very much. Hey, Gina, describe your journey into cybersecurity and finding a job.
Yes, so for me, September 2018, I actually was laid off from my company because the company lost the contract. So I actually was unemployed for 9 months. But during those 9 months, I actually inspired the next generation of people by helping them with their resumes. I was very positive throughout my job search. What I have noticed in my job search is that hiring managers, it doesn't matter if you have all the credentials or the knowledge. I came to realize that it's basically about the fit and do you fit in with the company or will you fit in with the people that you'll be working with. For any job seekers out there, know that the job descriptions are not idealistic. Make sure that you know how to transfer your skills that you already have because everyone is in cybersecurity. You just need to know your skills and how to translate those. And don't give up. And if you need some words of encouragement, just hit me up on LinkedIn.
So, as we know, cybersecurity is global, and we actually have someone with an interest on the international aspect. So, Untitled, could you please share some insights into the international aspects of cybersecurity?
Thank you, Dr. Manson. As we all know, cybersecurity threatens the world, but it's more riskier in Africa because there's a low level of commitment in cybersecurity. For my introduction, I told you guys I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa, where 90% of the population lack cyber awareness. 90%. And the problem is because in my country, we don't have no legislation, no regulation, no policy, neither standard for cybersecurity. And that's messed up. I'm going to do something about it. I don't know if you all remember the Face app?
Yeah.
The Face Agent app, where they say it's from the Russian, they're trying to get information or something. So many people from my country were saying that data is not important to the Russians. How is that? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how ignorant we are back home. That's how ignorant Africans are. In Nigeria, I was working with one of the companies called Regis, where we do threat intelligence. There's a lot of social engineering data back there. Somebody will just call you and ask you for your information, and Kate will say what she faced. Somebody can just call you and tell you, you won this certain amount of money, but we need your information so that you can get this amount. And some of them, they even ask them for money. So that's how bad. Recently, there was a cyber attack in South Africa. Do you all remember that, or do you all heard about that? No. Yes, there was a cyber attack. It was a ransomware attack where the whole city computer was locked, and they were asking for 4 Bitcoin. Yeah, they were asking for 4 Bitcoin. So that's how bad we lack cyber awareness. I'm going to try to see what I can do for my country because this is one of the reasons why I study cybersecurity. Thank you.
Wonderful. Everyone thinks cybersecurity is all about technology. However, you already shed some light on the people and leadership aspects of cybersecurity, particularly as it relates to innovation. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So as we know that this is the data age we're going through, and as Dr. Steve just said, new technologies are truly the pinnacle of an organization and leading success in industries and government in today's day and age. However, if all we had was the technology experts doing technology, there would be an issue with flow. If something happened, who would take the lead? And so this brings me to my point to the fact that historically the CEOs have typically run organizations. And Dr. Steve has actually shown that in his book, other examples such as the CIO taking the place of the CEO, the leadership point where as a cybersecurity leader, you don't necessarily have to be involved day-to-day on the technical work, but instead leading so that you can protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the data that is being used across the organization to grow further. A few more points is that it's important for the leader to be optimistic, to be resilient, because with these day and age hacks, which are coming 24/7, and you just sometimes have to settle on accepting risk, having a level of risk tolerance, but you have to motivate and empower the people that are doing the work and continuing to learn as well. So leadership is a critical element, and I don't think that without leadership and even self-leadership and leadership throughout an organization, and all of us being our own leaders and leading by example, not necessarily even having that leadership title, that we can all truly be leaders and continue to grow this atmosphere.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now from Ani, we're going to learn about the policy aspect, because cybersecurity is about people, policy, and technology. So we're going to hear a little bit about the policy aspects of cybersecurity. Ani.
Yes. So a lot of people, when they think of cybersecurity, they think of hacking or the technical side, networking. So when I got started, I got into the policy field, and what really helped me get started with the policy field is knowing the NIST standards and also knowing the RMF step, risk management framework steps as well. So to me, I had to actually, learn about RMF, NIST, the policies that are in place, and also, we are responsible. Well, for me, I'm responsible for like a system for the compliance. So I do have to write a policy that everyone must follow in order to make sure this system remains secure. So writing is very well, needed in the cybersecurity field. So a lot of people don't think that, but you don't really have to have a cybersecurity degree in order to be in cyber. But if you can write and you know your policies, your standards, you can actually do pretty well in the field.
Excellent. We often hear about cybersecurity certifications. Victoria, are there some certifications that you would recommend to someone entering the field? What's your recommendation on that?
Well, I've been in the field for a little bit now. I actually just got my first certification this year, simply because I didn't want to get one. I didn't think it was necessary for myself because I had the skill set and it was a requirement, for any of the jobs that I had applied for. So it wasn't necessary for me. However, the field is becoming very competitive. And so with that, I would actually recommend that those that are interested in certifications, try looking at vendor-neutral certifications, such as the CCSP, the SSCP, the CCSK, Company Security Plus, which is, of course, on everybody's job requirement list these days. So that's just basically what I would definitely recommend. Vendor-neutral certifications will definitely give you a better opportunity to get yourself in the door, I'd say, because you're not like, it's not something specifically that you can do. It's kind of well-rounded. That's the purpose of getting vendor-neutral certification. If you don't want to do certifications, or if you're a little afraid, or you need some assistance in trying to figure out what exactly would be the best route for you, definitely feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I know Katia has some really good things on her page as well for those that need a little bit of guidance, and I can definitely try to assist you and recommend the best, cybersecurity certification path for you guys. But definitely stick to vendor neutral. It always works.
Great. So that's an excellent insight. Now, let's hear from Katia Dean about, okay, people get degrees, they get certifications, but they still have a hard time finding jobs. What do you suggest they do?
Okay, if you have certification, I do not care if you have 1, 5, 15, 25. If you do not know how to articulate the basics of that knowledge, you will not get the job. If you have a degree, if you have an associate, bachelor's, and a master's, if you have a master's degree like me, please go for a mid-level senior position. I say that because you earned your master's, so don't try to play yourself.
Yes, this is a very U.S. population. So better to apply for jobs that require or prefer a master's degree. Automatically cuts down on the competition. Now, Fatih, I understand that you are now a member of Postmasters and you're polishing your public speaking skills, and you're also very active on LinkedIn. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why is public speaking or being active on LinkedIn important for people and cybersecurity professionals in particular?
Thank you very much. First of all, I just want to thank UMGC for putting presentation as part of their curriculum. That has helped me a lot. This is one of my weaknesses, and I'm trying to work on it. Dr. Manso also helped me a lot when I told him that this is one of my weaknesses. He asked me to join one of the Toastmasters, and I'm one of she leads and she speaks. If you guys are one of me, like who is very weak in public speaking, please join the Toastmaster program. It's very helpful. As a cybersecurity professional, you have to know how to pitch your presentation. You have to pitch in to your customer. You have to let them know about you have to present to your customer your goals or whatever the company needs to do, and you have to know how to do that. So please join Toastmaster program. And
what about LinkedIn?
I'm coming to that. So I just want to ask a question. How many of us have a LinkedIn account in this room? Oh wow, we're very few. Okay, so how many of us got a job through our LinkedIn Connect? What about having a valuable relationship through LinkedIn? So those are the reasons why you have to have a LinkedIn account. And an advice is you have to brand yourself. Your profile will speak for you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. And Elena, you talked about you earned a Master of Science in Cybersecurity Management degree from UNC. What did that degree do for you?
Can you hear me? So let me just start out by saying, when I worked at the second largest auto insurance in the country, the little green gecko, I'm sure you've all heard of it, for 10 years, I loved it. I remember doing a lot of math, and I just enjoyed that, and I didn't understand what these managers and directors and AVPs and CEOs, I just didn't get it. I was like, I never want to do that. I just want to sit here and do my math. And then, when I started, when I joined the program for cybersecurity, it's when I realized, wow, I can be a leader, because it's more of a science and psychology, and there's multiple theories about leadership, all stages of leadership development, which I had no clue about, because I only really cared about learning math, and I have not been exposed to it. So besides learning that in the class, UMGC offered career quest programs where I was able to take seminars hosted by OPM, which is part of the government, as well as different venues within UMGC. And I learned a lot of interview skills, which you would think after being in the professional workforce for 10 years I would be fine at. But I just want to give a quick story of one of the sessions I remember attending. It was a woman who worked for OPM giving federal interviewing advice or tips to the attendees. And she gave us an example of how, in another session, a young woman said to her, I have no skills, all I've ever done is I've been a grocery clerk attendant. That's it, I've worked in the cash register. And she said, so did you ever have an upset customer? She said, oh, all the time. Okay, you have customer relationship management skills. Oh, okay. Did you ever not have a grocery item on the shelf when a customer came to you and complained? She said, of course, I had to call, the vendor. Okay. You have distribution and, vendor relationship skills. And it kept going and going. And that empowered me for my whole future. And I hope, maybe touches any of you, because if you think you don't have what it takes, don't limit yourself. I'm sure you have some experience, or if you're already looking at that, you're going to be capable of learning that. So, I think some of the ladies here also said it, you know, shoot higher. Everyone I work with now from the federal government basically has a PhD in the management level, and with my master's degree and showing with my experience, I was able to attain that as well. But again, I'm so appreciative of GC and everything that it provided me to help grow. Thank you.
So she actually gave a hint of the power of mentorship, and that's our next topic. I would love for Annie to tell us, how does anyone go about finding a mentor? What can mentors do for you, particularly in the area of personal branding?
Okay, so for me, I was in the field, I think when I was like newer in the cybersecurity field and the policy world, so I reached out. I usually like research people on LinkedIn and see their credentials, and then I reached out to a gentleman because I like his skill set, and I was like, I would like to be, you know, in that position one day. So I sent him a message and asked him to be my mentor, and then he explained to me like, you know, the mentee and mentor relationship. And for me, we built like our relationship. And when I used to have like issues at work, understanding like certain policies or trying to write a control or anything like that, I would reach out to him, and then he would explain to me how to go about to write that, you know, that control, or help me solve like the work problem I had at work. And also, he also, you know, reviewed my resume, helped me brand my resume better, so I can, you know, stand out whenever I'm looking for like a new opportunity. And he also helped me by, like if he had any opportunities coming, like in his side of the work, so he would like, you know, reach out to me like if I'm interested. But I think the best way for the mentor-mentee relationship is also helping them, because he had a business. He was like a coach on the side for soccer for like little kids, so I was able to volunteer and help him with that, and I think that, you know, helped build that relationship. So being helpful and in helping others in the mentor-mentee relationship, that can also help you, you know, in the long run in your career.
Excellent. So we have allocated some time for audience questions. So as you saw, we got an introduction and some prepared questions. But I would love for the audience to ask questions, because these are the people that have the answers. So please.
I have a question. You guys are closer to the K-12 women than I. I just wanted to know what your thoughts are about how do we infuse some of this passion that you guys have into the K-12 arena, so that we're feeding that pipeline into the cybersecurity workforce.
So I actually hinted to the group. This is our first time presenting together, and a couple weeks ago I actually came up with the idea. Dr. Steve and I were going to get together to try to do this. I actually mentioned maybe like what the military recruiters do, how they go to the schools and whatnot like that. We can maybe try to do something like that, maybe the school board or something like that, so that we can put our bodies there. I think advertising online, sometimes it doesn't reach the audience, you know, that we are intending for it to reach. So I suggested, hey guys, after we do this, would you guys be interested in maybe going to a school, a high school, middle school, whatever the case may be, so that we can start showing them, you know, it's okay to look for these positions, it's okay to be in this industry. So that's definitely something that, you know, we're looking into, you know, and hopefully we can actually, you know, execute on that in the upcoming, you know, couple months or so.
There's another question? Over there, how many?
So hi everybody, my name is Harvinder, and I'm also a graduate student in cybersecurity. So I'm graduating this fall 2019, and I'm also looking for a job in the market. Most of I have a non-technical experience, but most of the companies are looking for a 4-year, 3-year, 2-year. It is little bit tough and hard to find a recent graduate in the cybersecurity field. So that's it. I want to answer if you next week.
Anybody want to answer that? Because these are all recent graduates.
For me, I would say network. That's like one of the key points when you're graduating. If you, before you graduate, if you could get like an internship, like on the side. I don't know if you have a full-time job or not, but if you can get an internship, that can give you a little bit of experience as well. But network, the key is to network. So go on LinkedIn, reach out to people, ask them to be, you know, your reference for a job, but network and build that relationship and get an internship as well if you could. But you graduated soon, so networking would be key for you.
I want to add to that. Also, try to get a referral. A referral is actually good. When I was going through my storm, I actually reached out to LinkedIn, and my current position that I have right now, I actually got it through a referral. So definitely get a referral as well.
Great. There was a question there?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi, first of all, thank you ladies so much for coming and everybody made it read. I just wanted to ask you guys, is there any way that like myself can join a network like you guys in this network? I have a nonprofit organization where we're also trying to do that. I work in cybersecurity as an analyst right now. And I'm just so motivated on not only getting our youth to understand the importance, but the opportunity. Because personally for me, I didn't know. So then when I found out, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the move. So I really want to see if there's a way to see you guys in the Divas. Like, do you guys have a membership or is it a club?
How do you network with them?
So first of all, we actually got that hashtag from LinkedIn, so they heard that, they gave it to us. We are not membership. But that's kind of a good idea. We're not actually thinking about it.
We have cards with us, so come see us after, and you can be one of our founding members.
Hi, my name is Niyati. I'm a current graduate student at UMGC. My mentor is Dr. Hussain, and I'm happy to meet my linking in person. Yeah. All right. My question is that as a clever woman and entering the field, not from the cyber or technology, I do have a networking background, but there are jobs in USA. However, we have pool of the other candidates who are not the federal employees who try to interview you without certification, though you have another master's, though you are a student. It is hard to break that rock over there, to explain them that as a US citizen I'm more valuable to the government than instead of outsourcing the positions. So how did you all handle? I know some of the stories, especially Katia was always on the LinkedIn expressing what she went through or what she was going through has motivated me, but how do you face it and how do I come out from it when those rocks will
I think Elena had some insights on this.
Yeah, so the reason I want to speak real quick is because actually 3 months ago, July 22nd, it was my first day working for the federal government. I was actually born in Russia, so, and I speak fluent Russian, and you know, one of my worries actually coming out of this master's program was, oh, no one's going to hire me because this country hates Russians. But I was shocked because when I went to a career fair as I was graduating earlier this year, they actually said that would be a pro. I can't say the agencies that were there, but they were there, and I said, whoa, again, my mind was, turned. But anyway, so I decided, let me look in the federal government space, and at that point is when I realized, oh my gosh, I always wanted not just to be a statistician or actuary, I wanted to be a mathematical statistician, and instead of and also potentially pursue cyber roles. But go to usajobs.gov. I was telling everyone here, I actually sat there one Saturday applying for the job I have now from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. on a Saturday. Didn't take one break. I was on my couch. My husband and my dog were next to me. And that's after I already wrote all the pieces that I was going to insert into that application. But be persistent. It might not be the first few jobs you get, but be persistent. Make sure for the federal government, I would just remove that whole mindset, who's more valuable, who's less valuable. If you have what it takes and you believe you match the qualifications, just go ahead, apply, and your attributes will do it for you.
I want to add to that, if you are trying to apply for federal jobs, make sure to get a federal resume because they have different requirements. The security clearance process is a hot minute as well. I'm going under 3 of them right now. I cannot speak too much on it, but just make sure to be honest during the security clearance process because you will be waiting.
All right, so thank you very much and I will want to stop closing this because it's time for your lunch. And so thank you very much for spending some time with us. Thank you, Cybersecurity Divas, for sharing your stories. Connect with them on LinkedIn.
In the last video, I showed you guys a demo of the Glass Squid AI tool, which is very helpful in your job search. In this video, I just wanted to show you all just a glimpse of my website. And I basically, as you already know, I provide resume services, discovery call sessions where I help you navigate your path using the NIST 800-181 document and making sure that you are aligned within your career path. I also offer interviewing prep as well. If you have an interview coming up and you need to get the jitters out or you need some advice along the way, I provide those services. And my website also shows my blog where I basically shared my whole experience looking for employment during my reef growth stage for 9 months, so you all could get ideas. And also check out the resources page on there as well, and you can see what other resources I have available for you all for your career. In the next video, we're basically going to summarize everything, and I appreciate everyone coming with me on this journey, and I hope you all learned a lot in this course of discovering your cybersecurity path using the NIST 800-181 document.